Coming up in today's video, we are going to be talking about a variety of topics, including a new WWE show, and we are talking about new championship belts coming to AEW. Finally got a massive update on that, and of course, we got to talk about a new WWE ban, and it's all coming up right here on the Ango Show. And as always, if you guys want more videos like this, don't forget to click that subscribe button. This way you never miss a video on the channel. We're always going to keep you guys updated with everything happening in pro wrestling. And with that being said, guys, let's kick things off with the WWE ban. This one is relatively a big deal because, as you guys know, there has been a lot of talk about Night of Champions, whether it's happening, whether or not it's not happening, we don't really know. So the thing is, it looks like WWE is continuing to go with the show moving forward. However, in a new update, we have learned that WWE has placed a ban from any sort of references on television of actually talking about what is going on in the Middle East with Iran and Israel and, of course, the United States. Now, in this particular situation, it makes a lot of sense that WWE would, in fact, impose a ban. No commentary, nothing from the promos, nothing from the wrestlers, no sort of references made to this kind of thing. Some people think this is obvious, but it's really important to note that WWE is an actual escape from real life chaos. And I think that's one of the reasons why people tend to love watching professional wrestling. There is so much happening in this world today. And of course, with Night of Champions being this weekend, the last thing people should be watching in WWE is something that's going to make them a little bit more fearful. So I actually appreciate WWE's approach to making sure commentary and promos and, ringside interviews, nothing is being, broadcasted to you that would get you in that mindset to even think about. Because I think one of the big things too that in today's climate, with so much happening around the world, and we do look for pro wrestling to be an escape. We do look like we do look for content, and we go on TikTok and we try to get away. But everywhere we go, there's always some reminder of how shitty the world actually is sometimes. And I think when you live in the real world, you want to get a little bit of away from that. And I think WWE, it really wouldn't make sense for WWE commentators or anybody to necessarily talk about it in general. And of course, with WWE just having so many questions in the air regarding going to Saudi Arabia, and a lot of people are obviously concerned about the circumstances out in the Middle East, it's just best to kind of get away from that. And that's going to bring us to our next topic, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it. AEW is officially introducing women's tag team championship belts, but now we have a huge development on this story. We've been talking about it for a very long time that, Tony Khan's probably going to make these title belts, but what we actually didn't know is that Tony Khan had these belts made about a year and a half ago. According to Bodyslam.net, AEW created women's tag team championship belts about a year ago, and they have actually been ready to use since then. The belts were created at the same time as the AEW Father and Son Tag Team Championships, which would see both real and storyline father and son duos, including Christian Cage and Nick Wayne, compete for the belts. If the belts would be a custom version of the AEW World Tag Team titles or another set of championships as part of the storyline with Cage and Wayne is unknown. Now, with that being said, Tony Khan has revealed in past media scrums that he was, in fact, actually interested in bringing in women's tag team championship belts, but he didn't tell us this entire time that he had them. Now, this image here is generated using Grok on Twitter, so obviously this isn't the official reveal. But it is very important to note that AEW is likely going to have these titles come out very soon. Now the question becomes, does AEW have too many titles in the company? Now, some people will actually be shocked to hear this, but maybe you're new to my channel. I have said this a couple times in the past. If AEW is unifying the Continental Championship and the International Championship and making that one belt, that is one less belt that AEW has. I also don't know if we need six-man trios belts, so I think maybe AEW could get away from that because honestly, I don't really see it being productive. But this is fine. Like, bring in the women's tag team championship belts, not a big deal. The whole argument of them having too many belts, I mean, it's kind of invalid when you consider the fact that AEW is coming up with the Unified Championship. And look, listen, I think women's tag team championship belts are a tricky situation. I'm not going to deny that. I think WWE has done a relatively poor job with the women's tag team championship belts. There's been times where it's been okay. There's been times where it's been good. But most of the time, it seems to be those belts are cursed. And I think the more and more that WWE has the women's tag team championship belts, the more and more I believe that every company shouldn't have tag team championship belts. And that's probably largely due to the fact that there's not a lot of natural women tag teams, right? Um, if you look throughout the industry, TNA, AEW, WWE, it's not like there's that many legitimate women tag teams. And obviously, that kind of poses a big issue. But I'm glad that AEW is going to do it. I want to see what they do. I'm going to give them a shot. Hopefully, it goes well. And that brings us to our final topic, ladies and gentlemen. WWE has filed a trademark for a new TV show, and it looks like it's going to be called WWE Late Night. Now, for those who are completely unaware of what is happening here, WWE is a content machine. I talk about this so often on this channel. Yes, WWE is in the professional wrestling business, but really what they are in is the content creation business. So, they are creating content, Monday Night Raw, NXT, Friday Night SmackDown, and that's great. But they also have LFG, and they have all these other shows, all these different documentaries, all this kind of content that they're doing. And this is what makes WWE such a big powerhouse, is that they've understood this philosophy for many, many, many years, long before many other wrestling shows or even sports entities. Now WWE has filed a new trademark with the USPTO for WWE Late Night. Now we don't we don't really know what's going down here, but it sounds like it is going to be an official late night talk show. And then obviously we got to see how WWE plans on producing it, where they plan on distributing the show. I think those are all pretty valid questions, and obviously that's where I'm a little bit more intrigued. But I do support it. I'm a very big fan of WWE potentially doing something like this. I really loved WWE Backstage when it was on Fox. I really like the idea of AEW and WWE and TNA having like talk shows, panels, things of that nature. And of course, with WWE being able to do this, I think it just helps even elevate the stories a little bit more. You can use it as an opportunity to promote wrestlers who may not be getting TV time. You can use it as an opportunity to push storylines and narratives that you want for your TV shows. There's a lot of things that you can do here. And of course, you got to have a great host. Kayla Braxton, I saw her on Twitter respond to a tweet saying that she was pretty much done with wrestling, but this would be a way to bring her back, which could be really cool. I know the WWE doesn't really do the bump anymore. Perhaps this could be the new thing that they do. We'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. As always, thank you all for watching.